Here are 34 amazing update ideas for Clash of Clans that I want to see added in 2026. The majority of these ideas and concepts come from Reddit, but there are a couple of my own that I really want to see added as well. So, with that being said, let's jump right into it.
Let's do this.
You know, snacks have been a blessing to our grind, especially the clan castle cake, right? But what if there was a royal chef that makes snacks and every day you get to pick one? Or more if you upgrade it. Now, I understand more helpers means more gems required to upgrade them. Don't give them ideas, Havoc. But even if it was just 100 gems for level 1, which I'm sure we all have, we can claim one free item every day. I think we can all agree that would be very dope and incredibly useful. How about letting us supercharge walls? Nah, let me stop playing. I will never stop asking for some kind of daily or weekly task, because why in the flippity flapjack not? This weekly chest concept will be a nice way to casually get some rewards. And all you gotta do is complete some basic things across the game. I mean, the gold pass is cool and all, but why not give us our own little weekly event? Or maybe it could be a daily streak inspired by the one they have over at Brawl Stars. You log on every day and claim a free reward, and if your streak hits a certain number, you get a special reward like gems or a chest. But speaking of ways to earn chests, how about through leveling up? This has been suggested since the dawn of time, basically, but still, there has been nothing done pertaining to levels. This isn't about chests or the rewards, but more like, why don't we do something with a feature that never had a real purpose? Here's another one of those concepts of the same idea of level up rewards. This one takes a different route by separating the rewards by 5 levels and going in depth on what the rewards could be at certain levels. Let's be honest, none of this is probably ever gonna happen, but let a man dream. You know, just the other day, I got a notification for another one of those yearly recaps that every app is doing now, but this one was from Uber. I've requested one ride the entire year. What is it a recap? I'd rather see one for Clash of Clans, where I've spent half my year on. How cool would it be to see your most used troop, most used pet, equipment, spell? Here's another cool one where it shows more interesting statistics. This will be a cool little thing for Supercell to start doing. This reminds me of widgets, which people have not stopped asking for about 5 years now. But I think it could be incredibly useful. Maybe it can show our current upgrades, how many builders are free, or how many attacks you got left in the war, because some players need to be reminded 10,000 times. I don't know, I would personally use it 100%. Practice matches. Recently they added the option to choose your difficulty in them, which has been pretty awesome for working on our attacking skills. But one thing that feels like we're missing is a max mode, which will basically set everything to max, including your own army, so that you can really get down to what's causing that skill issue. Seriously, this will make good practice. As far as magic items go, I only saw one really good one that I've mentioned before, and it is a star jar for the home village. I gotta bring it up again because the ore economy is pretty depressing. It would basically just activate the star bonus again, and that's all. That's literally what the star jar does in the builder base. Alright, there is always an abundance of these new equipment ideas, and while I don't want to fill the video up with a bunch of these, I found 3 that really piqued my interest. Like the Tesla staff for the Grand Warden. Basically, it would replace his basic attack with a shot of lightning that could chain through buildings, kind of like what the Electric Dragon does. I know it sounds pretty busted, but if they balance it, which I trust them to do, kinda, I'd love to see a passive equipment that can change the main attack of heroes. But here's a more normal piece of equipment, the spiky shield for the world champion. A pretty popular suggestion. I think I mentioned a very similar one last year. But essentially it is an active ability that when activated, she will take reduced damage, and also a portion of the damage she is taking is reflected back to the defense or the nearest building. It makes sense because she's the only one with a shield, and seeing an equipment for it would be pretty cool. And finally, it's sort of a wall breaker puppet for the queen. Now, I know what you're thinking, but it's not because of that. This would unironically be pretty decent. Maybe you can spawn a wall breaker or super wall breaker every 15 or 30 seconds. You know how many times I could have used that? I don't need my queen to be dealing 1,000,000 damage, you know, I'm just farming. Wacky and useful equipment like this can really come in handy. Let's switch gears here a bit and take a look at a few troop ideas, like the shield stacker. A skeleton with almost no HP that is absolutely stacked with shields. So basically, defenses have to break all of those shields before finally getting to the skeleton. For only 3 housing space and low damage, it would only serve as a small distraction, but I can already think of the many scenarios where this would come in handy. Next is the Electro Golem, a tanky golem that zaps defenses as it walks. Kind of like a golem with electro boots, but it also reminds me a lot of the Electro Giant from Clash Royale. You know, a tanky unit that walks slowly and he zaps things as he walks and then he starts hitting stuff. This would be a really neat ability that would prevent golems from dying to like a random skeleton trap or small clan castle troops. Maybe it can reset infernos. I don't know if that would be too OP or not, but yeah, just an idea. Then there is the Bomber Minion, which sort of looks like a super minion, but this one doesn't shoot fireworks. It throws bombs that deal splash damage, and the smoke from the explosion makes him invisible to defenses for a short period of time, where he then hits buildings fast with a smaller stick of dynamite. Really unique idea here. I think a troop with such mechanics could be fun to use. This next one is a super healer. Yeah, I know a lot of these are just super troops, but that's because we're missing a lot of them still. This super healer would have a dark mode that activates every 10 seconds. And while it's active for a short time, she isn't just healing, she's also raging the troops that she's targeting. And last but not least is the Baby Goblin, which is a hero pet, not a troop, but I'm just gonna throw it in here. I don't know where else to put it in the video. I really like this one because it's not DPS or support focused. Instead, it has an ability called Loot Hungry that triggers the hero to target resource buildings and gives them a loot multiplier. I think this would be a really cool casual pet that we can use for, farming when we're not doing any serious attacks. We don't currently have anything like that right now. As far as spells, I found a couple cool ones that would be interesting and not totally broken, like the Super Aim spell. You basically drop it wherever you want, and troops within its radius will have increased range for the duration of the spell. This could be especially useful right now because bases that rely on the troops being out of range for the Town Hall Guardians and stronger defenses are incredibly meta at the moment, and they are somewhat challenging to 3-star. This next one I found is called the Conflagration spell. I think I said that correctly. I didn't know that word until today. It means a large disastrous fire, and that's the whole idea behind the spell. Where it is dropped, it creates a fire that spreads to nearby buildings within a certain radius. And as it spreads, it deals less damage to keep it balanced, of course, but it can be stacked. This could be useful for funneling, farming, cleanup. I think it's a really unique idea. And lastly, for the spells, how about giving the spell tower more levels? There's a lot of cool ideas out there that could fit in pretty well. My favorites have to be the counter spell, which essentially uses the spell that is dropped near it against the attacker, so it's kind of like a Uno reverse card. And then a totem spell, because, that just makes sense. Maybe it can fling a totem near the troops, or perhaps have one situated on top of it. But a better looking player profile is what we really need. Not really, but come on. What we got looks so 2015. This is one of my favorite concepts for what this could be, and if I recall correctly, I'm pretty sure this is in the update roadmap, but I still wanted to mention some of the aspects that I really wanted to see when this finally does happen, like some kind of a background, reminds me of banners from Clash Royale. Maybe showcase our favorite skin. Here's another concept where the background shows our favorite scenery, and another showing off badges that we don't have, but maybe in the future. I don't know, small changes like these can make Clash feel much better. We all like to customize something to our own liking. And hey, now that we're on the topic of showing off some of our cool stuff, check out this concept of a collection tab, where you and other players can view all of what you've collected through the years. Your decorations, obstacles, sceneries, skins, and maybe there could be also a settings tab where you could customize what other players can or can't see. I really like this concept because there is a ton of decorations these days. Some of them you forget about, so a place where I and others can see my entire collection would be pretty dope. And speaking of showing off, what's up with the whole white flag we can purchase in the shop? Why is it blank? What if they repurpose that flag into a clan flag where you can fly your clan's badge and name? Nothing crazy, just a small little change. All right, I'm sure you've seen it all when it comes to builder base. Hey, after you get Bob, it's kind of just like, peace out. But what if we gave the old builder base a use, like this concept of a master builder's voyage? Basically, once a season, the master builder can travel to the home village to perform an upgrade at a time and cost discount. But in order to do so, you first need to complete these tasks, which are simple things like collect your gem mine and win a certain amount of stars. I don't know, I am all for perks like these that can help us to just grind for rewards that can help us get rewarded for not touching grass. But here's what I promise you've never ever heard of: Builder Wars. I'm not sure how many players would actually enjoy a builder-based war, but it has the potential to put life back into this village, especially if there's some kind of shop for it or reward. Here's another concept called Builder Wars, and this one is set up like a river race where the boat moves as stars are earned, kind of like what we have in Clash Royale. These are some of the most polished concepts I've seen. It's pretty clear the builder-based players want some kind of clan-wide event, similar to what there is in the home village. Because let's be real, no one wants to push trophies in the builder base. I mean, if you do, there's nothing wrong with that, but just give us something else to do. Alright, but before we wrap up, I wanted to spend some time looking at some of the most useful quality of life changes. Small things that could improve our gameplay experience, like showing how much time there is left in the builder boost. I don't want to have to look for something that is upgrading to check. It would be better if I can easily check that. It doesn't have to be under the builder either. It could be on the upgrades themselves, telling us exactly when the upgrade will finish, rather than it speeding up the time. It's too much math trying to figure it out sometimes. I don't know. Speaking of making things more obvious, I'm sure you've been in a situation where you lose your hero in a battle, maybe because it walked out of frame or the skin. How cool would it be to have it tell you where the hero is? This concept here uses a flashing hero icon, but it could be anything. Or what about a revive indicator on the heroes, so we never accidentally revive the wrong hero again? I'm sure many of us have done so due to one reason or another. This would eliminate that problem. You know what else is frustrating? The clan capital pop-up telling you your storage is full. I am so tired of leaving my clan to go dump medals in the random clan. I don't want to do it anymore. I just want to keep it full. Let me do that without telling me all the time. How about a convert all button in the Alchemist? Sometimes you don't have the maximum resources you could convert, so you gotta sit there trying to slide it to get the most value, but why not just add a button for it? I think there should also be a button to use our donated siege machines, but empty. Sometimes you run into a base that you want to attack, but you don't want to necessarily use the clan castle troops because maybe the base is too easy. So what if we could save the troops and just use it without it? I think it would be really helpful. And speaking of clan castle, wouldn't it be cool if they had a custom destroyed state just like town halls? I mean, no one's asking for this, I think, but it would look pretty cool. I don't know. Clan castles cost too much to look the same. What could also look nicer is the spectator count. If a friendly was watching, it could be blue, and if it was an enemy, it's red. For a lot of people, it's already easy enough. Friendlies are on the left, enemies are on the right, but it would be a nice little change to make it more obvious for those who don't know, or for all of us. Even I get confused still. How about being able to tag in the clan chat only current war participants? That way I don't have to tag the 5 people who got attacked. You know, just let me tag everyone that's in the war. Or a small little gift from people who bought the pass, just like it is in Clash Royale. Golden names for pass buyers? Anybody? A faster kick button? Names for saved layouts? Alright, now I'm just naming everything that's at the bottom of my list. That's a wrap. I want to thank you all for watching. This has basically become a yearly tradition now, and it's always cool to come back to them later and see what actually got added. I hope 2026 is another great year for Clash updates. Anyways, before you go, YouTube thinks you'll like this next video, so why don't you check it out? So, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!